Destiny by Malaika.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I can't keep up. Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Destiny by Malaika though. It takes me back to essay. There's something about essay music like.
Hi, I'm your host Andai, and welcome to episode 3 of Soundtracks, the podcast where we share the personal connections we have with music and how these connections have shaped our experiences, our emotions, and our memories. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for trusting me with your time. In this episode, I sit down with my friend Jonathan. Jonathan and I met in 2020. We did our masters at the same university here in London, but we haven't had the opportunity to sit down like we did today and just kind of have really deep conversations around music. And I really had a good time learning more about my friend. So Jonathan, thank you so much for coming and sitting with me today. In this episode, Jonathan tells us how music helps him stay connected to his home country, Ethiopia, and how he first fell in love with rap and the kind of lyrics and artists that he listens to today. We also get into a listener submission that reflects how music can really help us tap into our most confident selves. I really enjoyed making this episode, so I hope you enjoy listening to it. If you do enjoy listening to this episode, please like, subscribe, share, give us any feedback so I know that you're listening. I also encourage you to share your own stories of the songs that have impacted your life. So, without further ado, this is Jonathan's soundtrack. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello.
How are you?
Good to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I think we've had lots of kind of conversations, obviously, outside of this, but we've never had to sit down and talk about music. So I'm excited to hear about the music that you listen to, but also get to know you a bit better.
Music is, we love music.
We do.
I had to come prepared. I brought a whole
book.
I brought notes. I'm ready. I take it very seriously.
Academics.
Yeah, exactly.
we must apply that here as well.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited to hear. But before we kind of get into that, we want to play a little game. So I call it, do I call it word or song association? I think I call it word association.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a word. If it's in the pops into your mind, you say it.
Okay. Okay. I'll try.
So the first word, Addis.
Ooh. I would say Tizita by Mulatu Astat. No, actually Tizita by Mahamud Ahmed, I would say.
Why that song?
So Tizita in Amharic, it means nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a song like I think that makes me think about home, being at home, spending time with my parents, driving in the car.
Mm-hmm.
One of my good friends, Nabil, we used to always like have sleepovers or whatever, and he used to have this playlist right before we went to bed, and Tizita amongst other songs is always on there, and so it like reminds me of a time towards the end of high school, coming back home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say.
Beautiful. What genre is that? Because it's an empiric, right?
It's from Ethio jazz, which combines traditional jazz elements with more traditional Ethiopian instrumentation, but then also there are specific like not rhythms, but yeah, aspects to Ethiopian music that it combines.
Nice. I'll be excited to hear because obviously one of your songs is an Ethiopian song, and you're one of my few kind of friends from Ethiopia, and I haven't listened or dabbled into that music, but it's very, I don't know if calming is the word.
Yeah.
It's very like there's jazz elements in there 100%, but it's very soothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean there's like there's now actually a lot of Ethio rap coming out as well. Like Ethio reggae has been a really big thing for a long time, but Ethio jazz definitely more soothing. I think Mulatu Astatka Mahamud. These are like really big artists. And yeah, always in my playlists.
Wow. Next word, run.
Ooh, yeah. I would say Fighting For by Roots Manuva.
Why?
So I just did the Berlin Marathon in September, and one of I obviously had many playlists for my running, but Fighting For It was like one of those songs that would get me in the mood.
Is it one of those like songs you play like when you just that last mile? Because I find running very difficult. I tried it. I don't think it's in my blood. Really. I think Southern Africans have the running like that in us. But it's always that last mile, that last kind of thing. Is that one of those songs?
Especially like, I mean, the last miles is not so bad anymore. It's like when it really gets to a point where you're like, okay, I have to dig deep now.
Take out whatever's left.
Exactly, yeah. So like always 3/4 or 2/3 like through the race, because you've covered a lot and you still have so long to go. So like that's the time I would play that song if it comes up in the rotation.
Running just seems so painful to me. I tried for like cardio stuff, but like
Yeah, it's not.
Last word, friend.
Friend. I'm actually stuck.
Can I give another one?
Actually, can I look through my notes?
Go ahead.
Maybe this will help because I've created a list of honorable mentions. A long list of honorable mentions. Which ones would remind me of a friend? I would say Love Is by Common.
Why?
I don't know. Common is one of those artists I can just put his music on and it's so soothing. It takes you back, relaxing, and yeah, he uses many different descriptors for what love is in that song.
And thing is, Common is so poetic as well.
Yeah.
Like when you think of like we think of hip hop and rap now and what it is, which is mostly getting those really attractive beats to get people to listen first, and sometimes not even listen to the words, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're on the go. And when I was younger, I used to sit down and kind of listen to lyrics more deeply. But now I don't do that as much, and I think that's what people are catering to. For that, all you're listening to is like
the adrenaline.
That's all you're listening to. And I think Common, Nas, Kendrick are very much lyricist than they are like pop artists or like hip hop. You know what I mean? They are there for the poetry and there for the words.
Facts.
And yeah,
I'd say Love Is by Common. Just beautiful. It's easy to like. It's also not, I think there's a fine like line. It's not also the type of lyricism where you have to be deeping every line, like trying to pick up all the words. It's just like something soothing you can listen to while doing other things. But yeah, especially that song. My flatmate and my brother, we were at Kew Gardens one day, and I think I played that song a lot on that trip there. So Love Is. Yeah.
now we're gonna move into song of the week.
Yep.
So my song of the week, when I say the title, I always want to sing it because I don't speak Shona and I always want to be caught out by the Shona speakers for doing pronunciation badly. Is Mfana Wepa Jeja by K-Flow. I found it randomly scrolling onto TikTok. It's a Shona song. The artist himself is from Zim, so the song is in Shona. And when I heard it, I heard the language. I may not understand it, but I can recognize it really well. And even now in the UK, when I walk around and I hear Shona, I'm very much alert. Because for me, the language signifies like home for me, my dad's side of the family. And I spend lots of time with them as well. And so it's very catching. So I heard it, the beats were great. But then the language itself just brought so much comfort to me personally. And when I heard it, I asked my partner, I asked Taku what the song is saying. And it's basically discussing the struggles of living in Zim. The title itself translates to guy from the soil, but like guy from the ghetto, basically.
Right.
And the struggles of some people living in Zim right now. Trying to make money, the hustle, basically, the hustle culture and living in Zim. And it makes me, when I think of, like, obviously you listen to the song and you're dancing to it and it's a great song.
Yeah.
But the messaging behind it makes me sad. And when we speak about like Zim in this house, there's lots of elements about it that makes us sad. Because I have cousins who are still in Zim, and when you ask, how's it going? They just talk about the suffering and how hard it is to live in Zim at the moment. And it just makes me sad. Like the song itself was a great song, but it just reminds me of, I guess, the living conditions in Zim, and it makes me sad because the country itself is so beautiful.
Right.
And I have such great memories there, but the conditions aren't the best and they aren't really conducive. So it's a great song, but
When you first heard, because you said your Shonas, I mean,
Almost non-existent.
Almost non-existent. Not my words. But do you sometimes have like a feel for what might be said in a song, even though you don't understand the language? Like, would you have been able to hint that it was talking about these things, or?
I think sometimes when a song is mixed with English, you can kind of get some of the
Right.
stuff, and he does mix it with English. He actually has a rap part that's just English. So I'm able to like, I guess like take that and kind of make up a story. But I just easily go and ask other people what the song is saying to get that understanding.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
What about you?
My song is I heard a recent discovery. So I actually heard it last weekend. I was with my brother and my parents as well, actually, in a record store. They were visiting last weekend. And the guy who had been playing the music at this record store played this like soul cut. And when I first heard it, I thought, this was like from the 70s or the 80s.
It does sound like that.
I was like, man, this is like an amazing voice. Like, who is this? So I, when you have Shazam on your shortcuts, you just.
Like, what is that?
Like I didn't want to show the guy that I was clearly Shazamming a song. But I got the title of the song, and it felt so strategic from the DJ at the record store, because the vinyl record was like on the highest shelf, like where that gets all the lighting. But it's Jalen and Gonda's Lost is the song.
It's so beautiful as well.
Yeah, and it was a Sunday, like I felt like a Sunday song, like super relaxed. Yeah.
The way the song starts for me reminds me of Ain't No Mountain High, because it starts like that beginning. The Marvin Gaye song starts very similarly. So when I heard it, because I was listening to it yesterday, I was like, this song reminds me of that song.
Yeah.
It was also like a jazz song by Marvin Gaye. You seem to love jazz.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I love music. I love music. That's why I'm here. But yeah, that was just beautiful, and I thought, okay, this has to be like from a different time. But then I checked them out, discovered the album, and yeah, it was
recently.
Yeah, the album came out in September.
Oh wow!
So it's fairly.
It does give that new old feel to it, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah, and I think it's his first full length LP. So yeah, really really dope music. I don't know if you know Duran Jones and the Indications, but it gave me a very very similar vibe. Like just easy
what song from Duran Jones and the Indications comes to mind?
True Love. They have a True Love. Also, Is It Any Wonder? Like they have some really really nice songs. But it was a very similar feel, and I just thought, you know what, like I have to save this music.
Nice. So we're going to move on to your soundtracks, which are going to pick from my trusty IKEA, whatchamacallit, jar. I don't know why I closed it. Where did I close it? So, yeah, go ahead.
All right. Before I pick, by the way, I must say, like, there was a long honorable mentions list. Like, in this notebook, there are 3 pages of songs.
3 pages of songs.
That I could not pick, but
You just tell them to me at the end, and then we can, because I have a playlist at the end.
Sure.
That people can click on. It'll be called Jonathan's Soundtrack.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah. Jonathan's honorable mentions.
All right. This one is Canaan, Somalia. Not only did I list my honorable mentions, I have notes for each of these songs too. So, yeah, I think Somalia by Canaan was in his album Troubadour 2009. I think that was for me like the first rap album. I mean, it had many different elements. It wasn't only rap, but it felt like that was me falling in love with my first rap album. And what made it much more significant, I think, is that it was this East African guy, Somali guy. And he was using, a lot of the instrumentation he uses are Ethio jazz samples. So in this album, he would sample Mulatu Astat, who I mentioned before, Telahun Gassasa. And this song specifically samples Yene Mastawasha, which translates...
The part.
Yeah, exactly. And it just felt like so many different elements that I loved rap together with the Ethiopian samples together with his storytelling, like is really really emotional, I think. And he talks about his struggles growing up in a time of conflict in Somalia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just was a song I fell in love with immediately. It was catchy, and you know, them days, like my brother had an iPod Nano, and we had to take one earpiece each, and I was listening to that song, and I would try and like have the iPod Nano for as long as possible, just to play over this album. So yeah, I love that song.
It's an example for me of like a lyricist, like someone who the whole song you listen to it and you just you think about, obviously if you're in tune with the history of Somalia and the conflict in Somalia, you hear it and you're like shit, you know what I mean? Because real things impact real people, and you're kind of sitting there on some like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's a great song.
I think he had a line. The line was, "Fuck you, school, and fuck you, immigration," because I think he talks about all these like systemic structural issues he's having to face, and I think he ended up growing up in Canada, or I guess in his adolescence he was in Canada, but talking about like, you know, no education, no English background, no nothing. I'm having to try and make it on my own, and even let's not even get into immigration systems being in the UK, but it's just
let's not talk about
very
that.
like very emotional song, I find, but beautiful at the same time.
And it's just like that part about dealing with immigration. I think I speak about coming to the UK and being here, and also like highlighting really and truly we're here because we have to be at some point. Like we don't, like we'd much rather be at home, and kind of that transition from like him being in Somalia to him being in Canada, and always your heart always being somewhere else every single time you're somewhere. Like you're here physically but your heart is somewhere else, and always trying to keep that kind of fire, I guess, burning. Because for me, I use, obviously I speak to my sisters every day, I speak to my parents, but also using music to keep that connection on. Like, and I don't say that I'm in tune with the new music in Namibia. I'm not at all. I listen to really old Namibian music I grew up with, but I also use that to kind of like anchor me in that space, and anchor me with home, because I'm far away and it's difficult to do that.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, the UK is completely something else. But I recommend anyone to check this out who hasn't checked it out yet. So
cool. Next song.
Sounds and Fever. This is also fairly new discovery, though it's been out for a bit longer, that song. This song is just is one for your boo.
Like, yeah, I was thinking. Yeah. I was like, Jonathan is such a romantic. What is he listening to?
You saw all the love songs on my honorable mentions list as well. Yeah, nah. I had to also have like a representation of Afrobeats somewhere, because I feel like Afrobeats has a big place in my heart. But I also wanted to get some other songs in there. But yeah, Fever by Sounds and Fave. I just really enjoy the jam. And it makes you think of your significant other.
It does, doesn't it? It does. I was like, Jonathan is a romantic. Look at this song. Yeah. It's a very nice song.
Yeah. Hit me straight in the heart.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Do you have any other like Afrobeats romantic songs that make you think of your significant other?
Afrobeats ones, off the top of my head, I'll be real, I can't think right now.
Any other song then that's not Afrobeats, just in general?
Love Like This by Faith Evans that isn't, well, not Afrobeats.
Yeah, there isn't. How does that song go?
My musicality is so bad, so if you ask me on the spot to like recall lyrics,
I'll try to hear.
Love like this before.
Never knew, never had someone to show me a love.
Please take it off my hands.
Love like this before.
There's no way I'm singing that.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the. Anyway, that song is
exactly.
It's a damn. It's a really nice song.
Yeah.
Oh,
and also Tell Him by Miss Lauryn Hill.
Tell Him.
Yeah, do you know?
Yeah.
At the very end of the album, I loved that song.
I have to admit that I haven't like sat down and listened to lots of Lauryn Hill. Like obviously the mainstream songs that pop up when you think Lauryn Hill, I've heard them just because they've been around, but I haven't listened to the whole Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Haven't, and I feel like that's a crime. And when I leave here today, I shall do that.
They're gonna kill you for that.
I should do that. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. It's a thing that I haven't done. But apart from the song you just mentioned, any other Lauryn Hill songs you think I should listen to?
I mean, I think that whole album, Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, was like a masterpiece. I think that goes down as one of the greatest albums in music.
It
Probably.
does.
Yeah, so many good ones on there. Of course, you have like Doo Wop, To Zion. You have like, what's that one? Yo, I'm blanking, man. But
That's why you brought notes. I appreciate that.
yeah, that's why.
Next song.
On to the next. No time to waste. Let's see. Yeah, Olurum Tukudzi, Demand Dapedza. Yo, this one takes me back. I think this one of all the songs here is the earliest in my timeline in my life. So I lived in SA. I lived in Pretoria between like 2001 and 2004. And I think this was like at the height of Tuku's career as well. But I just remember my dad used to have these CDs of music, and sometimes we would put them in the car, and I feel like, you know, Tuku amongst like Salif Keita, Brenda Fassie, like a lot of other African heavyweight artists, Miriam Makeba, like those would be on rotation, and this song together with Todi.
Oh,
Yeah. Love Tuku. So just for some context actually about this Oliver Mkudzi's am I saying his name right? Mtukudzi, yeah. Is an OG for several reasons. I felt. I mean, the man had almost the same number of albums as years he lived on this planet.
Really?
Like, I think he's had like 60 albums or something. His discography is massive.
It is massive.
It's massive. Like, you have to dig through to find a song if you're not on Spotify.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, just an African heavyweight for me. Yeah.
For me, like, Tuku is very much road trip. Like, my dad used to play Oliver Mtukudzi and my mom as well, like on like road trips wherever we're going. So when I hear his music, I can literally feel, because my dad has his aircon on cold in his car, and he claims because he doesn't want to fall asleep, so it's really cold in there, but I can also smell the car. It's very weird. Like, I hear the music, but I can also feel the coldness of the car, right, and I can smell the car as well. Yeah. It's like we're heading to the village, or we're just going to the shops, and he'd play the songs. And they're very much staples for me. Whenever I decide I want to have a throwback for whatever reason, I want to feel at home. Yeah. I put on Oliver Mtukudzi, and like I said, I don't speak Shona. I don't understand a word of what the man is saying. Same. But it's there and it's home, and it just feels so comforting. Yeah, the husky voice is like the instrumentation. That guitar, bro. It's unbelievable. When you hear it, you're like, I know who this is. Yeah. And he has an NPR Tiny Desk as well. Does he? He does, yeah. Like, I think a much older one. And this man just, yeah. He has an NPR Tiny Desk? Yeah. I have so much to do after this episode. It's crazy. I'm glad we're throwing gems at each other. So much to do. Yeah, really? No. I love Tuku. So R.I.P. Tuku. Late and great. Because before he died, I was invited to go to a concert because I think it was in Cape Town, but I couldn't go for some reason. And then a few months later, he died, and I was just like, ta-da. Yeah, this must have been like 2019. Yeah, 2019. Yeah. Oh, one of my regrets in life. Next. On to the next one. Let's see. Yeah, Sauti Soul, their song Lazizi. Another love song. Yeah. I did not. I had to go and look for it. I was like, this sounds like you're talking to your hand. So Lazizi I picked because shout out to Chizzy, Sam, and my friend Leslie as well. We were hanging out, and Jemmy as well. They showed me this song because we were going through Sauti Soul music, and you know, it just
the connection is there. Your brain waves are just wired, and you're like, yeah, I love this song. I'm gonna save it. And I saw them in June actually at the O2.
Oh, nice.
Such great performers. One of them, like,
Their voices are great.
I mean, for one, Kenyans know how to have fun. Like, that's just, everyone knows how to have a great time. But the concert, the performance is really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, love that song.
That's great. Like I think lots of people learned about Sauti Soul during the Kuliko Jana,
Yes.
like that's the first time,
exactly.
and I was like, what is this? And I feel like Swahili together with Xhosa and Zulu are some of those languages that, like, when you hear it in music, it's
Especially
so,
like a cappella as well.
it's so beautiful,
Yeah.
and you just wish you could speak so you could
Facts.
sing that.
Yeah.
And when I heard Kuliko, I was like, what is this? And from then, I kind of started doing a deep dive and listening to them.
No, I don't know. I think it's just like, also talking about African music, I feel like they're huge African artists that I think now they're getting their credits, of course. But it's always about Afro beats, you know, and like Sauti Soul are just phenomenal. And Swahili is one of those, especially them singing a lot of their songs in Swahili. I speak no Swahili, but I sing the lyrics.
Of course.
Like I speak Swahili.
Exactly.
So
It's just there.
you just feel the music.
And you say what you think you hear. Or you find the lyrics and you kind of learn it. I think that's how we talk about, you know, from our academic background. We talk about, like, the bad things that globalization is doing in terms of, like, the environment and the economic systems and whatnot. But, like, the way we can use that same mechanism of globalization to get music anyway and be able to listen to music from other people, from other places that you haven't even visited, but you can't physically get there, but you can use music to kind of do that mobilization is really cool. And I think that it's one of the great things that we have living in this time.
Yeah, to that point, actually, like, I think the reason, like, after high school, why I was doing, I mean, especially with Ethio Jazz, like, I was immersing myself in it because, for one, when you don't have the music that you usually hear back home, you really miss it and you start diving into it. And I know there's, of course, many valid criticisms around, like, streaming platforms and not paying artists appropriately, whatever. But I think the one good thing that has come with streaming platforms is, like, actually being able to discover a lot of music in one place.
Exactly.
And yeah, like, it has done that for me, like, across African music in general.
I guess they're being able to, like, recommend you something as well. As soon as you play something, they're like, oh, you might like this, or here's a song. And that's the one thing about, because I use Spotify, I appreciate the most about Spotify. When I search a song, for example, and the next songs they play after that are songs very similar, and you can get so much other, like, gold music, and you're just like, what? How did this miss me? And you get to discover new songs in that way, because I find that it's very hard now. I think it was easier when I was younger discovering new music, because they had playlists like top 10 what. You would be watching it on channel O or Trace or whatever, and it would come on and you'd sit there and you'd look at the new music or whatever's charting. But we don't get that time anymore. You don't and you don't listen to talk radio as much either, because that's where they used to do that, the similar things. But I think this mechanism on Spotify really does help, or streaming services helps us discover new music, because life is hard.
Yeah.
This thing of 9 to 5 is not, I don't want to talk about it. It's not great, and we shouldn't be doing it, but that's another discussion for another day. But it also makes you really tired that you can't do things you love, like discover new music.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that we have tech and stuff to help us do that.
No, I get it. I get a lot of slack for it, but I would say Spotify Wrapped should be a public holiday.
Exactly. We just all go and sit down in our houses and
I spend too much time going through okay, this person is ranking. This person ranking in my top 5. Like, yeah.
Do I listen to that person? I always come up to the top something % of Beyonce listeners on the planet. So
you're in the 0.00000.
Exactly. I'm like there with the Beyonce listeners. Which is my hand. So
got you. Okay, should we do the next one? Okay, this one's Wede Harar Guzo by Hailu Margian, the Dalak band. So, what I was just referring to in, like, rediscovering or re-immersing myself in more, I think, Ethiopian music especially, this album and this Hailu Mergia as well as an artist has helped me do that, because not many people in my generation listen to this music. This is like 70s Ethio jazz. And we'll get on to the many other aspects as to why this music was so relevant at the time. But it was a way for me to also reconnect with my parents, because this is music that they know from their time. And they wouldn't expect someone in my generation to be listening this much to it. But the title, what Hara Guzo, means a journey to Hara. And Hara is a city in the eastern part of Ethiopia. I think it's actually like the fourth holiest site or city in Islam. Like it's got a lot of historical relevance, either way, and a beautiful city that I really want to visit as well. But Hailu Mergia is an amazing artist. Saw him at the Jazz Cafe last September. And the instrumentation, wow, it's phenomenal. So why I was saying, sorry, I'm just going on a rant now. Feel free to pause me anytime. Why I was saying this music was so relevant at the time was because in the 70s you had, mid-70s, you had the Derg regime that took power in Ethiopia. And so after they took power, they were of course repressing a lot of like music, art that was coming out at the time. And unless you made music with lyrics that like specifically was in support of the state, it would get banned or it would get like destroyed. Like there had to be a lot of reissuing done with music.
I see.
And so this whole album is actually instrumentals. There's nothing but instrumentals. And in a way, that was also a sign of protesting, like what the government was doing. I have nothing less to say. Because I can't say anything, and I know my music will maybe be shut down for this, but in a way, it's still to produce music, to convey something. And he only, in this song, the only lyrics he has, he says, la, 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 la. So he just, great album, great song as well.
Any other song on the album that you think we should listen to?
Recollection on the spot is not my thing, but I'll leave suggestions towards the end, maybe.
Yeah, please. Yeah. I love that you came with notes. It's really telling. Yeah. Just memory is not.
Have to be prepared. It is. Come on, man. Tendai calls me. I'm there.
Okay. Thanks, Jonathan. I think we have lots in there, right? We have Afrobeats. We have Ethio jazz. We spoke about Lauryn Hill. I have to go back to educate myself on Lauryn Hill. The next part of the podcast is the listener submission. Yeah. And so I'll read out a submission and we can talk about it, right? Okay. So the title of the story is How Little Me Emboldens Adult Me Through a Song. And the song in the story is Mascanada by Sergio Mendes and the Black Eyed Peas. And the story reads as follows. My family and I moved to Brazil for my father's diplomatic post when I was 6 going on 7. In my first year there, I had this wild idea to sign up for a school talent show where all the students from grades 1 to 12 could participate. And yes, I was competing with high schoolers. What's even more wild is that some South African girl in grade 2 won first place. Yep, I won first place. And I continued to do so for 3 years in a row. My first 2 entries I performed alone, and this song I danced to for my second win. It's also the first CD I ever bought. Where 7-year-old me found the audacity to compete with a self-taught samba routine in front of an audience of over 600 people, majority of which were Brazilian. You know, the samba gurus. I don't know. All I know is dancing set my soul on fire, and I fearlessly pursued any opportunity to share it with the world. Now, as an adult, I've become quite an overthinker. I've become hesitant in executing my creative passions, wondering if it's good enough or what others would think what others will think or if I'll fail. 7-year-old me often did things she loved that were out of her comfort zone. She did it without doubting her abilities or factoring in people's opinions or even probable failure. She did it because she wanted to. And what was more than enough, and that was more than enough reason to press forward. Now, whenever I listen to this song, it reminds me of how it felt to be that girl. Because quite frankly, I am that girl. I always will be. And if I ever forget, I can play this as a reminder.
That's what's up. No. I relate to a lot of things that was said in that story.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is that like innocence that you have as a child, and in a positive way, like that naivety as well. You know, like you're not thinking too much when you're doing
Doing
anything.
that thing.
You just go for it. So I can see how now we are all massive overthinkers because we're too caught up maybe in everything.
In everything. And I think for me, I was thinking about it a lot. I was talking to a friend last week about having a conversation with like your inner child and thinking about that person. And I think about myself when I was 11. I think about myself when I was like 16. And I was highly ambitious child, highly active child as well, and a very confident one as well. And I always think like, given where I am right now, would Tendai, 11-year-old Tendai, be proud? Like, would she be happy with what I'm doing? Like, I've had lots of changes in terms of like my career, what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a doctor, then I said no. Then I wanted to be a lawyer, then I said no. And then I wanted to be an economist, and I said, okay. And then I went into development, and like I'm doing completely different things to what I thought I would do. But like, given who I am now, would I say that, you know, if she comes here right now and she opens the door, would she be proud? Like, am I doing well? Yeah, it's kind of things that I think about. Obviously, like there's the overthinking, and maybe this is me overthinking it. But there's so many things we don't do because we are not those people anymore. Granted, there are certain parts of that little girl that had to be left behind because she had problems of her own. But like there are elements of like that self-confidence, that like doing whatever the fuck I want when I want it. And also like, yeah, that's why my mind kind of went when I read this.
How do you tap into your inner child when you like?
I think it's like remembering who I am kind of vibes. Like I have a really deliberate kind of thing of like I don't like to be messed with, and I don't allow that, right? Because she never allowed it. Therefore, even in my adulthood, I would never allow it. Yeah. Because even when you are in a work environment where, you know, you have to have some decorum, I have decorum, but also you can't just fuck with me, right? Let it be because I'm junior, whatever the fact may be. I like going into a room because she used to, people knowing that this person is this person and we need to come accordingly. And every single time I get into a situation where I feel like I'm not representing myself the best that I can, I redo that whole interaction because it needs to be better. So that's the one thing that I think that she gave me that I continue to do. And I think I use that to remind me of like the great things that she gave me. And yeah, I use stories. I have parents who remind me of like, you know, the person I used to be and the things that she used to love to do. But that's how I tend to do it.
Granted, this is who you like are by nature. Do you think being an older sibling also like has made you like this in a sense?
100%.
Yeah.
It has to be, I think, one of the many reasons why, you know, you need to exude confidence and look like you know what the fuck you're doing is because there are other people looking at you. Like that was the one thing that I used to have as an older sibling. Like I am functioning at a place where there are 4 pairs of really young eyes looking at me. And I have the responsibility to be first at everything. Therefore, when I do my first, it has to be perfect, right? Which has problems in and of itself, right? When was I able to grow as a child? At some point, my mommy would say to me that like she doesn't remember me being a child because I never did child things. Like I was just kind of like an old, and that came from responsibility,
the grandparent
right?
At 8.
I did, bro. When I say I was changing diapers at 6. I used to make my sisters lie down and like lift themselves up so I could do the diaper things. Like I didn't want to hold them. I was like, you know, core strength, sister. Thingy, suck yourself. But 4 years old, come on, suck yourself so I can put the stuff on you. But yeah, that level of responsibility, and I think it also translates into like when I used to go clubbing with my friends.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much I would drink, I wouldn't get drunk if I have responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like
Because you're looking out for
the
other
body
people.
just
Yeah.
says stop.
Yeah.
And I am sober until everyone's fine. The moment everyone goes home, I'm drunk by myself. That was just me. That was
Then
just
you can
me
be dizzy in
and this
bed.
alcohol,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, excuse me. I was supposed to be having fun, but now I'm just drunk alone, and everyone else is asleep and gone home.
Yeah.
And there's like that level of responsibility. It moves with you everywhere. I think, and even when you go to work, it's still there, and you feel ownership, and it makes you want to do really great things and be really good at everything because I had to be.
Yeah.
The Japan when we were young, my mom was very adamant, like the kids are watching you, therefore you need to be this way.
Okay, right.
Like there's so many things, like, and I know that my mom in many ways was trying to help and trying to like make me better, but like sometimes she would do the opposite of it. Like I have these friends, my friend Amelia, like she's really a really good friend of mine. She said, "I love her so much." I was a boarding school. I used to go to boarding school, right? She used to be a day girl, so I'd go to her house a lot of times when I'm not in the boarding house, and we'd hang out so much. She was still is one of my best friends. And my mom knew about this friendship and how much I loved this friend. And Amelia has an amazing family who like opened their house to me, and they're like my family. I called her mom, her dad, and Amelia was my sister. And my mom saw how much I really love these people, and I was telling her how great they are to me. And she says to me, "That's good. Don't disappoint them." I was like, what did I say? Yeah. Like, don't disappoint them. And so for me, when I'm navigating the world, I'm just trying to not disappoint myself firstly, and then everyone else, which is a humongous feat.
Yeah.
It's really like, it's tiring as well. When she said that to me, I just started crying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I have to think about that, not disappointing people.
And then that means it sounds like what you're saying is that it's also difficult to forgive yourself, like if you mess up. Or do you think you're harsh on yourself too? Like,
oh yes.
Yeah.
I always say, like, if I see me doing something that you think is wrong, just know that I've already thinking myself before you even did.
Yeah, you're your own
so
harshest critic.
100%.
Yeah.
Like when I did the first episode of this, the first mini one, I think I shot it like 5-6 times. It was a 5-minute thing, and I shot it like 5-6 times. Because I was like, Tendai, this is not good. This is not good. You didn't do your best. And now how I come into these, I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
I don't write anything down except for the questions. And when I listen to the submissions, I kind of make notes about my own feelings. But until then, I don't. Because I give myself room to be like, Tendai, you didn't say that one thing you wrote perfectly. Yeah. So I start over again. So I think forgiving myself is hard. I think like before if I do anything wrong, I'm the first person. And I think that also comes in the people say I'm a perfectionist. I don't think I am. I like getting things done and getting things done in a certain way, but I don't think I want them to be perfect.
Yeah.
But given that I have a plan for them, when they don't go according to plan, I'm not the nicest person to myself when it does happen. Yeah. So I think I've adopted this thing of talking to myself out loud. Sometimes the voices in your head are the ones that are saying that you're shit, you've done shit, are really loud. So I genuinely speak out loud to myself. I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. You didn't mean to, because I do, for example, in this house, I misplace shit all the time. And sometimes it's really like important stuff that I don't know where that thing is. And when I'm getting frustrated and angry with myself, then where the fuck did you put that key? I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. You just misplaced it. You're going to find it, and it's just a key. Yeah. You're going to find the key. It's fine. And then I go around the house chanting that to myself until I find the key, because I'll get really angry and really frustrated with myself if I don't do that.
Fair, no, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I see it as well with my own relationships, of course, but me being the younger sibling, I can connect the dots a bit with my older brother as well. But yeah, that's just interesting to hear, I think.
How do you talk to your inner child if you do it all? I feel like all the younger siblings, there's lots of like, you're allowed to play a lot more than we were. And I feel like you're able to connect with that easier, I guess. I could be wrong.
100%. Like, I'll remember my brother, who would also be like, very responsible, very on top of everything. And me, I'm like a silly, clumsy child. Like, that's who I am. But I think in that clumsiness, I found so much joy. You know, whether that's with my friends or by myself. But even like walking in public, you know, if I'm listening to music, like I'll be slouching or I'll be dancing while I'm walking and stuff. And I remember there was a time my brother used to be like, he's like, walk normally, like, you know, like,
present yourself sharply.
For you older siblings, everything is military behavior.
It is
you know?
military behavior.
Yeah.
It is.
And
to sharing that last cupcake, everything is military precision.
Yeah. So I can relate in different ways.
Yeah, I think it's also like allowing yourself now, like myself, I guess, to do the things that you didn't feel like you could.
Yeah.
I think that the one thing that I speak about in my episode with Kenza is, no, actually in my own solo episode, is undoing that like relationship barrier with my sisters, because it was, as you say, military. Like I had to be this kind of person, but that put a hamper on how close we could be. Because I was like a mouthpiece at the end of the day, and being able to like undo that and allowing ourselves, if something happens, for me to be like, I'm on their side, right? Yeah. Like I'm not. There was an instant where my mom found out that my sister had a tattoo. And she asked me about it. And I was like, what did you want me to do? Did you want me to undo the tattoo? It was already there. So you wanted me to tell you and then what?
Undo the tattoo.
She said, why didn't you tell me? I said, what was I going to do?
Yeah.
It's already on the skin. I don't know what you wanted me to do. Like being able to be on their side with things like that only now is really liberating, right? Because like at the time I was like, oh my God, I have to tell my parents, because if I don't, it's on me. Like, why did I let this happen? Why did I allow them to do that?
You know, one tactic my brother used against me, where he didn't have to tell them anything, but he would make sure the message will still come across. He told me, if you don't tell them, I will. So then I'll go and tell them.
Yourself.
I'll go and tell them, yeah.
I should have used that, because I always used to be the one.
He put that against me, you know, so I was like, okay, let me try and come clean here.
And the other thing that I'm thinking about is, when you talked about your walking around and dancing, stuff like that, for some reason, my dad, we spoke to him about it very recently, he didn't allow us to do that in public, right? So we'd be in a supermarket, and a song you like baby, for example, come on, we couldn't dance. Like he wouldn't allow us. Like if he saw you, he would scold you. It's like, I think he used to be like, do you not have radio at your house or what? And so we didn't used to dance in public, and I asked him about it the other day. I was like, why? Why would you do that? Like, that's like a random thing to, like, it's just a little bit of a groove in a supermarket. Like, why would you do that?
What did he say?
And he said, he firstly apologized, which I really appreciated. And he was like, it was just the time, right? It was the perception. It was about having his kids look unruly, I guess, and public was just not his ministry. Yeah. So he wanted us to be very like
my kids are not going to be the ones that are fooling around.
Not the ones that are acting like they don't have radio at their house. Like they... And so we were very like well-behaved kids, especially in public. We were so well-behaved. Yeah. Like you wouldn't see us throw a tantrum for nothing, dog. Like
disrespecting your parents.
We didn't even like. We barely even used to play. You know, if you went like a Wimpy or a restaurant that had like a playground, we didn't go to those playgrounds. We kind of sit down at the table and kind of talk amongst ourselves, because we just wouldn't do that, right? And we were, I think, we were in a Wimpy one year, and because we used to go to Wimpy after church, and we were sitting and we were just, you know, the three of us drinking our Wimpy used to have these cream soda, like with ice cream on the top, very sugary, very unhealthy, but we used to love that shit. So we'd have our ice cream floats, soda and ice cream floats, and there would be other kids like racketing and rowdying in the thing, and there's just us like really well behaved little kids. And one of the parents looked at us and they asked my dad, how are your kids so well behaved? And he was just like, I don't know. I was like,
you know, this was planned.
This is execution, sir. So yeah, we were super well behaved, especially in public. But now, whenever I walk around and I have my earphones on, I allow myself to dance now. I allow myself to take that back and express myself however I want, because who's going to fight me? Nobody. And two, it's just another expression of myself, right? I don't like listening to a song that I really like and I'm just like still.
Yeah.
It's not my ministry. It doesn't work that way for me.
Yeah. It's also, I guess, I don't know. It's a chance for us to also now like realize, like things weren't that deep like as a kid. I mean, of course, probably that changes if the day you probably become a parent or whatever. But as an adult right now, why not tap into your inner child more? Like, I think it's more important to do that where possible.
To do the things that you could do for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Was it responsibility? Was it like means? Because I'm like, we have more means to kind of play with now. Whatever it is, kind of just doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Learning and unlearning things, because I think we probably also get caught up in,
because we ask our parents to like unlearn so much, and then we have some unlearning to do as well. I think that's like the conversation about like if you decide you want to have kids, if that's where you want to go, like what are you going to unlearn before you put that whatever trauma you have onto the child as well. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to have kids. I don't know what that looks like, but like practicing intentional parenting. Because I tell that to my parents all the time. That my dad doesn't like hearing it, but like, I didn't ask to be here. I didn't. And the decision
There's
to
no sign up registration.
the decision to come here was not mine. I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
He claims that I chose him in spirit, but there's no receipt for that.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask to be here, right? And the same thing is what I want to kind of put into myself when I do decide to have a child, if I ever do. Didn't ask to be here, therefore I need to work bloody hard. And one of the ways to work hard is not just have the financial means, but also like the emotional capacity to be able to take care of his child.
Yeah.
In every way possible. Can I give the kid attention? Can I be there for it? Because there's lots of things like, for example, like I said, I went to boarding school, right, away from my family, and that was a decision they made, and there was like financial sacrifice to make sure that I went to a really, really good school, and I get that, but I missed out on chunks and chunks of being with my family because of it, right? And so what impact does that have on me and our relationship, for example? Would me and my mom would have been closer if I didn't go to school so far away? Or, how would that have gone? So, I don't know. There's so much to consider in this life.
Fact. I mean, what do you carry with you and what do you not?
And how do you not go back? How do you not go back to your default?
Fact.
Because your default could be being really shouty, like reacting really. So that's what I do, right? I'm very quick at reacting, without even thinking. So I try to like be quiet first to remove myself, so I don't do that. But that's one thing that I need to. If I'm gonna have kids, forget it quickly, because kids need patience, and I'm not the most patient person on the planet. So I need to learn patience quickly, and things doesn't come in a book or a pill. Like I have to physically learn to be a patient human being, and it's hard. Like even being a patient sister is hard. Being a patient child is hard. Being a patient partner is hard. And being a patient parent is even harder.
Yeah.
And I need to
Combination.
Bro. And I don't know how that's going to look like or what I'm going to do to get that level of patience. I also like pray that it's something that I just innately do. When the child comes, all of a Sunday, Tendai is the most patient person on the planet. I know that's not going to happen, but I can always wish because I don't have it.
Yeah.
Because I always describe it as like Chipo and Rimbi, I used to teach him how to read.
Hey.
And I was 6. Not 6. I was like a 10 because we were like 5 years apart. Oh, that used to be the hardest thing. Especially when I'd say the word armadillo and she couldn't say the word armadillo the next time she got to the word armadillo, it would drive me crazy. And I used to feel this like urge to just push her. And I still have that impatience of just like, for fuck's sakes, can you just do what I need you to do quickly?
Yeah.
And I don't like that about myself. I really, really don't. I wish I was more patient. And I think if I was more patient, I'd be more loving. But because I'm impatient, I get annoyed really quickly. And so my fuse for that kind of shit is really like off. But also it means that I get annoyed really quickly, which removes the love element from it. Like like I said, I'm not a patient sister, I'm not a patient daughter. I think the most patient I am, and Taco will say that's not true, is in this relationship. Like, I've tried to be the most patient because I'm dealing with someone I love and I don't want them to be upset. But I don't have patience, and I really don't like that about myself, and I hope I get better. So that's the thing I was talking about, right? Things about little Tendai that I didn't like, that I have now as older Tendai, I don't want to. That's not. Impatience is not great.
No, yeah, I hear it. That's so interesting. I'm someone that I think I always sought like patience around me, you know, like because I think I also am patient, like to a degree. Don't come in now, you know, be doing too much with my patience. But yeah, I know what it's like to be around people that can be impatient or are impatient, especially growing up. Like, and you're also, imagine on the other side, you're also worried, like, oh, if I put a foot wrong now, like, I'm not going to hear the end of it. But no, I mean.
And that's the thing, the tiptoeing, I think is what really annoys me, is that as an impatient person, the fact that you kind of demand certain things to be done at a certain pace, other people have to really tiptoe around you to make that happen so you don't annoy them or they don't annoy you, rather. And I don't like that. I just want to be, because my dad used to do these things to purposely annoy me, right? And he was like, "Nah, it's not that deep. Calm down, it's not deep." And I'd get really annoyed still.
Yeah, what do you mean it's not that deep?
You're
the
doing
Mariana Trench is very deep.
You're doing it to annoy me.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's fine. Like, it's not, I need to learn patience. But I think I'm a lot more patient than I used to be. But I need to learn patience. So if anyone has a song that can teach me patience, please
send it to.
Even like, I like patience. But is there anything else that you think you take from little you that you use today? I know like there's the whole, obviously the walking around and just being.
I don't know. I like asking people questions out of curiosity, and I think I asked maybe a lot of questions when I was younger, and just I want to take that curiosity forward with me, you know. It's a bit corny, I can't lie.
No, that's
But
fair.
yeah, like, you know, it can also get annoying though. I'm sure as an older sibling or as a parent, like if there's always someone asking you, but why is it like this? How? Like,
so funny you say
why
that.
not? And I imagine like that
I'm
would
just
drive
telling you
people
this
mad.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, can you just take
accept it? Yeah,
as gospel? Yeah.
Exactly.
No.
So, in the less annoying sense of that, in that same spirit, I would say
being curious and
asking
continuously
questions,
asking, because that's how you learn, right? Because I think that when you sit down and you don't ask questions, you're never gonna know. And you can try and take it away and go learn from outside sources as you can, but like being able to ask questions in the moment really allows for you to kind of grow quicker than the other respect. But yeah, I've gone on a tangent, but I feel like
no, that's I'm loving the conversation.
gone off on a tangent, but yeah, I don't. When I was thinking about the kind of songs that I used to listen to as a child, that I think gave me the confidence for some reason. That the song, the Jordan Sparks song, "One Step at a Time," for some reason.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. It just, for me, it reminds me of playfulness. I think it came out when I was in primary school. I remember dancing with what is it? Dancing with it, dancing to it. There we go. English. Dancing to it with my sisters at home. And it's just a very playful song. So whenever I listen to it, I just remember that old child, that younger me, and the confidence that she used to have, and the playfulness she used to have when she allowed herself to be that playful. And yeah, I just hear it with fondness, really.
Yeah. I love that when a certain scent or like sound takes you back to a specific time and you know exactly where you were then and there. Yeah.
Do you have a song that reminds you of your childhood?
Childhood. Actually, look at what I wrote this last night, by the way. And this song that we talked about, the person submitted that story. This song is here.
Yeah.
Because this is around like 2006 Football World Cup. And of course, like Brazilian footballers in football, if you're a big football fan, Brazilians at the time were like, the most skillful, so
They
beautiful to
were
watch
having a
football.
good
The
time.
music was amazing. And so I think Mashkenada, yeah, was like, it takes me back to my childhood. My brother, like, also taught me quite a lot of things football related. Like, I was really, in football.
You still play now?
Yeah, on occasion, when I'm called up. But yeah, it just takes me back to a time where, like, coming back from football training or watching the World Cup, seeing what's happening, street music blaring everywhere. And yeah, I would say that song takes me back. Another song though that not necessarily is the one that's already been mentioned, I would say is Destiny by Malaika.
Ooh, ooh.
I can't keep up. Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Destiny by Malaika though it takes me back to SA. There's something about SA music, like it just puts me in a time and place, early 2000s.
The song in the air that I breathe.
Yeah.
I think I was in primary school when that song came out.
Yeah, I love that
Jesus!
song. Yeah.
I haven't heard that song in a long time.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
It is.
Is this also just like a song that
Step, yeah. It's a
a
cross-generational song.
It
Your
is.
parents will be jamming to it. Yeah, kids at the function. The baby that's asleep in some back room at the function.
I can feel the magic. I know that's a song.
I'm seeing in my mind. If you don't want to hear me. Yeah.
It's such a great song. Oh my goodness, I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Yeah, no. Music is beautiful, man. Music
my
is beautiful.
God.
We could talk all day about
Jesus.
the music.
Okay, let's wrap up. But before we finish, I have a few more questions to ask you, kind of rapid fire questions. Yes, or you can take time to think, but okay.
I'll try and be on my toes.
Alrighty. First question. What is a song you wish you could hear again for the first time?
Song I could hear again for the first time, I would say. This is not rapid fire at all. I need to go back to my notes. I'll say, you know what? Thieves in the Night by Mos Def and Talib Kweli or Black Star. It's I think early 2000s rap.
Why?
I heard that song and the lyrics in that song, like when you dissect them, the things they are saying is madness.
Does it evoke a sort of feeling in you that you wish you could like recreate? Like, what is it about the song that you're like, you know what, I want to hear this again?
I think there's a moment of like you're deeping what the lyrics are saying, and
The realization.
I'm so bad at actually translating what I heard to how it makes me feel. But I think scrubbing back the song and saying, okay, I actually need to take it in. I mean, especially that song talks a lot about, themes of what it's like to be black in the US, struggle, but also just like the pen is so slick. They're so good at the
most
lyricism, the
definitely.
storytelling.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a good one, I would say.
Okay, next question. What is a song on your playlist that you think would surprise people who know you?
Ooh. What would surprise people? Gente Aberta by Erasmo Carlos. I don't know if it would surprise people. Maybe people would just not think necessarily that I listen to Brazilian music. But yeah, I love that song. I think it means open people.
What genre is it?
It's like, man, I don't want to disrespect any Brazilians who I would be associating the wrong genre to the music. But it's for me, I would describe it as the perfect outro song to a happy ending movie.
Okay.
Like, if I ever direct a film or I don't know, get to select the soundtrack for a film, this would be the last song, rolling credits, like, and you leave the film feeling like, okay,
I watched the movie.
I watched the movie and it ends on a good note.
I'll check that out. I've never heard that artist.
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Oh wait. What is an artist, or who is an artist you think people should listen to?
So I think that, first of all, this rapid fire is not rapid; it's just fire. It's a flame, actually. I think that comes with like the assumption that maybe they're not listened to enough.
Yeah, that is the assumption.
Right. Actually, look, don't get me wrong. Lil Sims is huge now. But I think for like her discography and for what she's been doing for a long time, she should be even placed on a higher like place in music. I think Lil Sims is phenomenal.
Any Lil Sims song that comes to mind?
Misunderstood or Little Q Part 2. I really liked her. Sometimes I Might Be Introvert album. It's not the most recent one, the one before. But Misunderstood, and it's spelled like MISS space understood. Yeah, a lot of interesting themes. It covers some of the things we talked about, like siblings and relationships and who you go to talk to about stuff. But yeah, man, Lil Sims, great lyricist, artist, musician.
He's great.
Big up.
She's great. She's also a great actor as well.
Yeah.
If you were a musician, what genre of music do you think you would make?
I'd be doing a combination, seamless transitions between Afro jazz, taking some Fela Kuti inspiration, high life, Ethio jazz, somewhere over there, together with some reggae, and ska. So yeah, I would find myself floating between these different worlds, I would say.
It's a very interesting one.
So, what would you say, actually?
I think jazz.
Okay.
I think my voice fits well in that kind of soulful arena. So I think like jazz, neo soul, I'd land myself over there. I don't think I'm very poppy. I can sing a pop song, okay, but I don't think that's where I don't think I want to make catchy tunes. I don't think I want to make TikTokable tunes. I think I want to make let's sit down and cry tunes. Like I used to sing lots of like Adele songs when I was younger. And she's just, for me, for a very mainstream artist, she's really down here in terms of what she writes about and what she sings about. Yeah, it's just I'd say very like that side of music. Yeah.
No, fair. I would say this is my most played song ever, I think. And someone people should listen more to. Wanda Banton, like number one, and then D.A. Banton, has a song called Joe, yeah. I think he might be from River State. Shout out Southeast Nigeria. But that song for me is also equally amazing.
I'll listen to it. This is why one of the reasons why I love doing this, right? When I do like social media interactions with people, like Song of the Week and all that stuff, I get so many new songs I've never listened to and wouldn't have thought of even going to listen to. But also like sitting down with people like yourselves and all my friends and talking about music, I get so much out of it.
Yeah.
And I have so much fun doing it.
When you sent me your Song of the Week, I said, yeah, Tendai is there are certain people, when they send you music, you're like, yeah, this is a reliable supplier.
This is who you can go to. Some
people, you have to question their supplies sometimes. But now I know, okay, Tendai, you sent me your Song of the Week. It's a banger.
Thank you.
You have to check it out.
The last question.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, but you can get to think. You can look on your book.
Let me open my page.
If you were stranded on a desert island,
okay,
and you had a music player with an infinite source of energy, and you can only have 3 albums or EPs, which would you take?
Distant Relatives, Nas, Damian Marley is one of them. I'm trying to
Why?
make sure I also include music I haven't already been speaking about much of. But Nas and Damian Marley, for me, that was like, you had the US together with the Caribbean. It was a very Pan-African album. I think it's easy to identify with, like, as an African because of how many themes of it are, like, drawn towards it. Like, what is it? Land of Promise, with Dennis Brown, or the initial Dennis Brown sample. Amazing. Like, where they make a metaphor for, like, different US cities with different African cities, and they connect them. And, like, the narrative around it is just beautiful. So I would say Distant Relatives.
Okay.
I would say for the rest of my life, right? That was the question.
Yeah, that you're on the island. Those are your 3 ones that'll be on repeat until the water runs out.
I need some upbeat music as well. I can't just be
in your fields.
Yeah, I can't be in my fields or in my thoughts too much. Imagine theorizing while you're stranded.
Listen, no one is coming.
Finished. There's a new artist called Skyfall. Or I don't know if he's particularly new, but he's definitely, like, been growing. SKII Fall. And I think he's based in Montreal, but amazing. Like, it has combinations, I feel like, of UK trap, of the Caribbean, like, different sound systems that would, like, really good bass. Yeah, Skyfall has some great EPs. I say check that out.
What Skyfall song would you?
My Gully. I don't even know what gully means. I'll be real.
And from the Nas album, what song there would you say is your go-to?
Yeah, Land of Promise or Strong Will Continue. Yeah, I would say those ones.
And what's your third and final album? EP.
Damn. So I've given my big up to the Caribbean community of sorts. You know what? I'll go Forever by Popcorn. I haven't given Popcorn his flowers yet. Yeah.
What song on that album?
Me Love Ya, Silence, so many good ones. Left My Gun. Yeah, Popcorn's for me. I think it's my most played artist right now. Sorry.
Okay.
My most played artist in the history of my Spotify catalog.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard one song.
By Popcorn?
I don't think so.
No way.
Give me like a really mainstream song. Give me.
Clarks, me prefer. Clarks would you? Nah, no way. With Vibes Cartel.
I can't. Give me all these words, Doug.
To be fair, a lot of what I said was song vomit. I think I gave too many recommendations for people to follow.
No, I think
after the third one, they'll be like, okay, I've had enough of this episode.
I think we have like the longest playlist. I think. I think mine had like what 6 songs. This is more than that. I think you'll have 12 in yours.
If you want to reduce the capacity.
No, man. It is really about allowing people to, even if I cut the episode in a way that some of the things won't be there, they will still be in the playlist just for people to like.
Yeah, perfect.
To still kind of tap into that. And that was everything.
Thanks so much for having me, Tanda.
Thank you for coming.
Shout out Soundtracks.
Thank you.
You're on YouTube, right?
I am on YouTube.
Like, comment, subscribe.
All the things there.
Somewhere here, the button will be floating if this is in the frame.
You're giving me work.
You now have to outsource someone to come and put the subscribe button.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Tanda. Shout out.